Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in on this Thursday. And boy, every week I say this, but it's just hard to believe that it's Thursday already, right? Thankful Thursday at that. Send me a quick email, joe@joeyhudson.com. Text me. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Tell me what you're thankful for on this Thankful Thursday. Here's what we're going to cover today. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is pushing back against what she called the propaganda media, accusing them of selectively leaking classified material in an attempt to undercut President Donald Trump's handling of the Iran strikes. Also, the Trump administration will hold classified briefings on the Iranian operation for both chambers of Congress this week. I have the details for you and when this is expected to happen. Here's how crazy the left is. Planned Parenthood encourages men, and you heard that right, men, to get cervical cancer screening for Men's Health Month. I'm not making this up. I have those details as well. And the South Carolina Supreme Court is pressing the pause button on a recent legislative pay raise that state legislators passed as part of the new budget.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard yesterday pushed back pretty forcefully against what she is calling the propaganda media and is accusing them of selectively leaking classified material in an attempt to undercut President Donald Trump's handling of the high-stakes Iranian strikes that we saw just this past week. In a post from her official X account, Ms. Gabbard confirmed that new intelligence has verified the destruction of Iran's key nuclear sites at Natanz, Fordow, and Isfahan. This, of course, in last weekend's bombing campaign. She wrote, if the Iranians chose to rebuild, they would have to rebuild all three facilities entirely, which would likely take years to do. She also criticized recent press reports relying on leaked intelligence assessments that downplayed the scale of the damage. She wrote, the propaganda media has deployed their usual tactic, selectively release portions of illegally leaked classified intelligence assessments, intentionally leaving out the fact that the assessment was written with low confidence to try to undermine President Trump's decisive leadership. Look, I hope that they track these people down, find out where these leaks are, and prosecute them. Prosecute them for leaking intelligence like this. This is dangerous. The former Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii, she, of course, now serves as President Trump's National Intelligence Director, has become a key public voice defending the administration's national security posture during this growing Iranian-Israel conflict. Her post yesterday marks the most assertive pushback from really anybody in the U.S. intelligence community. Meanwhile, media reports have confirmed that the Trump administration is going to be holding classified briefings on the Iran operation for both chambers of Congress this week. The all-Senate classified briefing is scheduled for 2 p.m. this afternoon. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., and an all-House briefing will be held. Now, I'm sure that these briefings are coming at a time when the administration is trying to tamp down all of the rumors and all of the media reports saying, well, maybe it wasn't as successful as President Trump has told us it was. Well, they're going to get to hear it and see it firsthand this afternoon and tomorrow. These are the same briefings that were initially set up earlier in the week and were postponed. The briefings will cover, again, the scope and impact of the U.S. and Israeli airstrikes that targeted the key Iranian nuclear facilities as part of Operation Midnight Hammer. Multiple Senate sources are saying they have not yet received information on who the briefers will be. Speculation circulates that Senator Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth could be involved in the rescheduled sessions. Of course, I called him Senator Marco Rubio, Secretary of State Rubio, a former senator, and he would be a perfect one because I think the Senate particularly has a lot of trust in his ability, and he would be great to stop any of the rumors and any of the speculation, even among the Democrats, because I think he has a lot of respect over there. Again, according to reports, members of Congress are expected to receive updates on damage assessments, intelligence findings, and potential retaliatory threats. The Senate and House sessions will take place behind closed doors, of course, due to the highly sensitive nature of the material. The mainstream media just can't stand the idea that President Trump successfully took out Iran's nuclear capability. So they have a full-blown campaign trying to discount what happened, even suggesting that maybe the operation was not as successful as the president claimed. So now we have various leaders in the Trump administration, in addition to the Director of National Intelligence, Ms. Gabbard, hitting the circuit to counteract the charges. Now, all of these people have better things to do than to run around trying to cancel out what the mainstream media is saying about the operation. But no, they have to take their time or stop what they're doing, pause, and take their time to try to counteract the mainstream media. In addition to Ms. Gabbard, CIA Director John Radcliffe confirmed yesterday that the recent U.S.-Israeli strikes caused severe damage to Iran's nuclear program. In a statement posted to X, Radcliffe said that the CIA has credible intelligence, including from a trusted source, that key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed and will take years to rebuild. Other independent authorities have also agreed that the attack took out any nuclear capabilities. For example, on America Reports, nuclear weapons expert David Albright said that the U.S. and Israeli airstrikes have, in his words, effectively destroyed Iran's gas centrifuge enrichment program, setting Tehran's nuclear ambitions back by years, he said. Albright, founder and president of the Institute for Science and International Security, cited recent satellite imagery showing heavy damage to the key facilities across Iran. Albright said it will be a long time before Iran comes anywhere near the capability it had before the attack, but also cautioned, and we need to keep this in mind. He cautioned President Trump to not stop here and continue to force Iran to allow future inspections to verify that they do not attempt to rebuild.
And what we found is there's a lot of destruction of the uranium enrichment program and the program to make the bomb itself. And so I think Iran's dream of having a significant gas centrifuge enrichment program is over. It'll take years to rebuild back to even something approaching what it had 12 days ago. And so but when you look at these leaks, in this case from DIA, you have to ask what is set back. And I think what gets lost in this is that the job isn't completely done. I mean, you can only do so much with bombing, and you have to assess honestly that there are remaining stocks of 60% enriched uranium. We don't know how much is remaining or how much is in the rubble buried in collapsed buildings or in Fort Dow. And there's remaining centrifuges that hadn't been deployed but are able to be deployed. And they could be deployed anywhere. It could be a warehouse in Tehran. It doesn't have to be at a third enrichment site that Iran has declared. So you have to have a mechanism to get this. And so I would argue that this isn't over. And what I would hope would happen is that President Trump does what he said he'll do, is to get a deal with Iran to end its enrichment program and to do it in a very verifiable manner. And in that process, Iran would have to produce these stocks, the remaining centrifuges, and get rid of them. And so that's what the Trump administration has promised.
Mr. Albright's remarks pretty much aligned with what is Israel's Atomic Energy Commission, which told Fox News that the combined U.S.-Israeli operation had set Iran's nuclear development back by many, many years. He confirms that. Mr. Albright concluded, and so what is really left is sort of what I call the residuals or the remnants of the program, but the program itself has really been dealt a severe blow. Now, the interesting thing is, I also saw Mr. Albright on MSNBC. He said the same thing, but MSNBC interpreted it to mean that, well, Trump isn't being completely honest with us, and it wasn't as great a success as Trump told us it was. And that's what the mainstream media, that's the narrative. They just can't get out of their own way, can they?
Joey Hudson here. America is facing a health crisis, and the answer isn't more meds. I lost over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan without Ozempic or any weight loss shots. Don't settle for a lifetime of medication. GLP-1 injections like Ozempic help some people lose weight, but they come with side effects, high cost, and most gain it back when they stop. At PhD Weight Loss, we reveal Big Pharma's big secret. Your body already makes GLP-1, the appetite-fighting hormone. Our program helps your body make it naturally so you'll drop the pounds faster. With the PhD method, no side effects, no long-term risk, no rebound weight gain, just natural, lasting results, all without hunger or cravings. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. Discover your body's true potential without a shot. It's free and gives you the keys to your personalized plan. Do like I did and don't trade your health for a quick fix. Call now at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com.
What in the world is happening in New York City? Is the Big Apple in worse shape than we ever thought? Have you been keeping up with the mayor's election, where this young socialist, some say he's a communist, Zohan Mamdani, evidently is on the path to victory, defeating former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo? We have the details for you here in just a moment. First, President Donald Trump was held at the 2025 NATO summit after the U.S. struck Iran's nuclear facilities over the weekend. The NATO Secretary General praised President Trump as a man of strength and a man of peace, saying, "I just want to recognize your decisive action on Iran," saying that he said this at the start of the joint remarks with the president. He said, "You are a man of strength, but you're also a man of peace. And the fact that you're now also successful in getting this ceasefire done between Israel and Iran, I really want to commend you for that. I think this is important for the whole world." And it is. And the whole world should recognize Donald Trump for what he was able to accomplish. While the president was en route to the Netherlands for the summit, he shared several texts from the Secretary General in which the NATO leader expressed his support for the president's move against Iran. One Trump shared on Truth Social said, "Congratulations and thank you for your decisive action in Iran. That was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared to do. It makes us all safer." Also, Trump was praised for getting NATO members to pay more, and said that the president was flying into another big success after all countries except Spain agreed to spend 5% of their GDP on defense. He added that Trump achieved something no American president in decades could get done. And that's because previous presidents, Democrat and Republican, were afraid to ask other countries to pay their fair share. They just always assumed that we should always pay more. That because we were so blessed, that we had resources, that we should just take up the slack. And guess what? Kind of like your cousin that goes out to dinner with you all the time and who never offers to pay. He just assumes that you're going to pay, that you have the money, so let you pay. Well, that's how these other countries have been when it's come to NATO. Donald Trump, that has been a thorn in Donald Trump's side since his first term. He never liked the idea that other NATO countries took advantage of us and expected us, assumed that we were going to pay more and that they should not step up. Well, that's not going to happen, because in this term, I got to believe that that these other countries are going to pay more than their fair share to make up for what they haven't paid in the past. Leaders of NATO member states had mixed reactions to the strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities, we're told, with several calling for de-escalation while acknowledging the threat a nuclear Iran would pose to the global security. For example, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney issued a similar statement as some of the others, saying that as G7 leaders agreed in Krasnodar, the resolution of the Iranian crisis should lead to a broader de-escalation of hostilities in the Middle East, including a ceasefire in Gaza. Well, look, why don't you talk to your buddies over there with Hamas? You get Hamas to back down, and we don't have a problem. I'm sure Israel would be happy to stop in Gaza. We'll see. Back to this New York thing. I've been watching the mayor's race, and I've been watching this young guy, Zohran Mamdani, and I just never thought that he had a chance. I thought even New Yorkers have enough sense not to elect this guy. But it appears that's exactly what they are doing. As he cruised into what appears to be a win in the Democrat Party last night, again, defeating former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo had raced in just recently, dropped in like he was going to save New York City. Well, I guess New Yorkers still don't care too much about Cuomo. As the returns came in last night, the numbers kept stacking up for this left-wing Muslim socialist who makes it no secret he wants to, quote, queer the police while also defunding them. And around midnight last night, it was no longer a hypothetical. Zohran Mamdani had emerged victorious. Wow. So who exactly is this Mamdani? He's the son of a Columbia professor. That's just sort of natural for a socialist, leftist, wokist in New York City. He's a radical in every respect of the word. For example, October 8, 2023, just hours after Hamas invaded Israel, slaughtered 1,200 people while taking more than 300 hostage, Mamdani posted online that the only way to peace in Israel was to end the occupation and dismantle apartheid. He has been anti-Israel his entire life, according to what you read. Mamdani's pro-terror associations don't center just around Palestinian either. He also has ties to individuals who believe that America deserved 9/11, that we brought it on ourselves. Banchi, writing for Red State, said, to believe that Mamdani is just naive is akin to believing Osama bin Laden really did just care about climate change. The most likely explanation for his long-standing associations and expressed sympathies with the Islamics is that he is one himself. That's who New Yorkers just made the odds-on favorite to be their next mayor, less than 25 years after 9/11. What an absolute disgrace to the memory of those who perished that day. Banchi went on to write, but what about his economic and social policies? In short, Mamdani is a communist, and not in the way that word is sometimes used on the right to describe crony capitalist Democrats. No, Mamdani is literally just a communist. Two of his primary proposals are government-owned grocery stores and rent control. Now, how is rent control going to go over in New York City, or further rent control, I should say? There's not a city in the nation that has more strict rent control than New York City has now. I don't know how you make it any stricter other than just having the government seize the property and have the government rent it themselves. And of course, the big question is, why does this matter? Why does it matter to you? Should I care? Should you care? Look, I enjoy a visit to New York occasionally. I don't go as much as I once did. But so I guess about the time the rest of America stopped feeling sympathy, as if this was a result of some misguided naivety, we have to understand that if New York continues down this path, guess what? They're going to want a federal bailout. They're going to want my tax money, your tax money, to come in and save them when they get into trouble. So our only hope is that Donald Trump, or whoever's in the leadership position at the time, will not rush to save New York when they need a bailout, because eventually they're going to need a bailout. Okay, folks, if you needed any more proof that the left has completely gone off the rails, I'm about to share it with you. Here's today's headline. Planned Parenthood celebrates Men's Health Month by telling women to get cervical cancer screenings as men. That's real. It actually happened. I'm not making this up. So here's what happened. Here's the whole story. This past weekend, Planned Parenthood of the Southern New England, a group funded by your tax dollars, mind you, posted on Facebook for Men's Health Month. They're celebrating Men's Health Month. Thank you, Planned Parenthood. And what was their message? Well, it was maybe about heart disease, maybe prostate cancer, maybe mental health for veterans. Nope, none of that was mentioned. They posted a cartoon of a topless, mastectomy-scarred person and told so-called trans men to go get cervical cancer screenings. And why? Well, here's the quote. Trans men are men and need cervical cancer screenings too. Now, I hate to break it to the gender studies majors running Planned Parenthood social media, but men don't need cervical cancer screenings. Never have, never will. The only people who need cervical cancer screenings are biological women. Period. End of story. So if someone needs that kind of screening, I don't care how they identify, they're not a man, period. That's not hate. It's just called biology. I learned that in biology in high school, at Riverside High School, in Dot Bishop's class. As you can imagine, this post blew up. Over 70,000 reactions and more than 60,000 people laughing at it, as they should. And what did Planned Parenthood do? They turned off the comments. they didn't want to hear it. Classic leftist move. Say something absurd, get roasted, and then hide behind the mute button like a teenager who lost an argument online. I'm surprised they didn't just delete the whole post. But here's the real kicker. While they were busy redefining men and women, Planned Parenthood also used the post to give tips to these so-called trans men on how to make cervical cancer screenings more comfortable. Now think about this. You've got a massive taxpayer-funded organization pushing gender ideology so far that they're telling confused young women that they're men, while also admitting they still need women's health care. This is not just offensive. It's not just crazy, ludicrous. This is dangerous. Because when you deny reality, people get hurt. People miss screenings. Kids get pumped full of hormones, and the institutions that are supported to be about health care start playing politics with people's lives. Now, here's where it gets even more outrageous, as if it could. According to a watchdog group, Planned Parenthood has been exploiting a loophole using contraception access as a Trojan horse to get minors on hormone therapy without parental consent. Let me say that again. Minors, hormones, no parental permission. They call it gender-affirming care. What it really is, medical experimentation on children. In any other world, this would be child abuse. This would be illegal. These people would be hauled into court, put in jail. And they're using contraception laws written to give girls birth control to hand out testosterone and puberty blockers. Again, that's not health care. That's ideological child abuse. And guess who pays for it? Guess who writes checks? We all do. In their own annual report, 23-24, Planned Parenthood proudly noted they took in nearly $800 million in government reimbursements and grants. $800 million. Let's do quick math here. That's almost $1 billion of your hard-earned tax money, my hard-earned tax money, handed straight to the largest abortion provider in America. And look, folks, they're still in business. Yeah, Roe v. Wade was overturned. Planned Parenthood is thriving. And one of the biggest pushers of radical gender theory. But guess what, folks? President Donald Trump, I don't think he and the Trump administration are going to just let this slide. Now, granted, he's just been in office since January. But I got to believe that somewhere deep in the Trump administration, somebody, probably as we speak, are putting together the plan to stop Planned Parenthood in its tracks from this lunacy. Back in March, the Trump administration did take action, notifying Planned Parenthood affiliates across the country that federal funds were going to be cut off due to violations of the president's executive orders. That includes the ban on DEI nonsense and the violations of federal civil rights laws. Boom. Trump warned them, no more playing doctor with kids behind parents' back. No more pretending boys can be girls or that men need pap smears. And if you want to keep your hand in the cookie jar of federal cash, you're going to play by the law. Now, it's going to take some time because Planned Parenthood, we have to understand, they're pretty smart people. And they're finding every loophole they can to get around this because $800 million is tough to walk away from. They're not going to do it without a fight. Planned Parenthood and their allies are freaking out. They've screamed transphobia, accusing the Trump administration of spreading disinformation. I mean, really, disinformation? You mean basic facts about human anatomy? These people are so deep into their own echo chamber, they think reality is hate speech. So let's not lose what they're trying to do here. This isn't about compassion. It's certainly not about health care. It's about control. Cultural, political, and moral control. They're targeting kids with gender ideology before they even get to vote or before they even have their driver's license in some cases. They're rewriting biology textbooks, and they're gaslighting the country into believing that men can have babies and need cervical exams. It's not compassion, it's pure confusion. But confusion that's very profitable for those involved. I mean, they're making a boatload of money. They're taking our money. Here's how it works. You get people to reject the truth, then offer them affirming care, which means lifetime prescriptions, hormone regimens, surgeries, therapy, and who's profiting? Big Pharma, Planned Parenthood, and the politicians they bankroll. They're not helping people. They're manufacturing lifelong patients who will be on the dole for the rest of their lives. Now, you got a nation where people are afraid to say the obvious, that men are women and women are women, because someone might call them a bigot. But you know what? Common sense is about to come back. Common sense is on its way back because Donald Trump's not afraid to call them out. And it's giving others the courage to do so as well. Parents are waking up. Legislators are stepping in. And thanks to leaders like President Trump, we're finally seeing some pushback. We're not afraid of them anymore. This moment could be a turning point. It's not just about one Facebook post. It's about whether this country lives in reality or fantasy, whether we defend truth or surrender it to activists in lab coats and bureaucrats with pronouns in their bios. Are you ready to step up? Are you ready to continue the fight? I am, and I think you are too. We have to draw a line right here, right now. No more money for madness. No more medical experiments on children. No more pretending biology is bigotry. And don't be afraid to be called out on it, because we have science on our side. We have the biology, the God-given biology on our side as well. God made boys, God made girls. Nobody can change that, not even Planned Parenthood with all of their money. This is the United States of America. It's not a gender studies seminar at Berkeley. And we got to remember that, and we have to remind people of that, and we have to encourage our friends and our family not to be afraid to step up and to speak out. That's how we're going to stop this. This is how we're going to stop them in their tracks. Are you ready? Are you up to the task? Are you ready for the fight? Text me. Email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a quick message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. And always remember, when you use promo code Joey at MyPillow.com, you're going to save big. For example, Mike Lindell's offering his best deal on the Percal bed sheets. You can get a whole set for $24.98, but you need to use promo code Joey when you go to mypillow.com or call 800-893-4059. And for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you're going to receive $100 in free digital gifts. The MyPillow Percale sheets are breathable. They have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to cover those mattresses. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep. For me, that is crucial. I'm sure it is for you, too, for your busy schedule. So go to mypillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Use promo code Joey, and you're going to save big. Check out some pillows and the towel sets, $29.99 as well. Some great deals at mypillow.com. Do it right now.
Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you could trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com.
Wrapping up today's show, there was some breaking news yesterday afternoon. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer was taken to the hospital in Washington for dehydration, according to his office, as the region continues, of course, to experience another day of scorching heat. Do you ever remember it being this hot? Of course, I know it has been. Maybe I'm just getting older and my heat tolerance is getting lower, but wow. The senator was taken to the hospital. His office told the media Leader Schumer was at the Senate gym this morning and got lightheaded. Out of an abundance of caution, he went to the hospital to be treated for dehydration and is now back at work in the Capitol. Temperatures in Washington, D.C. were expected to reach in the high 90s as part of this East Coast heat wave that we're experiencing. The Washington, D.C. Homeland Security and Emergency Management posted on X, extreme heat alert for D.C. until 8 p.m. Daytime temperatures will feel like 105 degrees or hotter. Drink water, stay cool. Officials have warned people throughout the Southeast to take precautions to prevent heat-related illness. Let me remind you to do likewise. If you don't have to be outside, just stay inside and keep it cool. That's what I've been advising Nana Hudson to do these past few days, is stay inside. Stay in the nice, cool, air-conditioned home. On the text line, texter, hey Joey, Sherry from Georgia. I love listening to your show. And I just want to say that if I lived in South Carolina, I would vote for Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette for governor. I think she's very smart and will be a great governor for South Carolina. Well, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that, and I will certainly let the Lieutenant Governor know that she has a supporter in Georgia. Of course, she has not made an announcement either way as to whether or not she's going to run for governor. We've had two this week, Senator Josh Kimbrell from Spartanburg and Attorney General Alan Wilson, both making it official on Monday that they will be seeking the nomination for governor next year. Lieutenant Governor Evette, as you know, a frequent guest on this show, I think probably will run, but we won't know until she makes it official. Albert says, mistakenly sent a photo of my boat. Sorry about that, Joey. Yeah, Albert sent me a photo here of a center console boat that he has for sale. Thank you, Albert. Did you know that I'm maybe thinking about buying a center console boat, Albert? Or are you somehow reading my mind here? I've been seriously thinking about a center console boat, just sort of as a runabout at Lake Kiowee. You know, Peg loves our pontoon, And I've got another sort of ski type boat. I don't use it a whole lot. I thought, it'd be nice to have a center console. Just sell it, get a center console, something that I can just run around in. Maybe Jesse and Simon will go with me and use it sort of as a fishing boat as well. We'll see. Albert, yours looks nice though. Texter, Joey, does MSNBC really expect us to believe 630,000-pound bombs did no good? Someone texts radio station saying all Dems need to be sent to California and we need to build a wall so they can't get out. Let's make sure that those kooky left-wing news reporters are sent there as well. I won't disagree with you on that either. Yeah, MSNBC, I think they're getting worse. I mentioned a minute ago that I saw this nuclear specialist, a scientist, who I had seen on Fox. I think I saw him on One American News Network, and he was just confirming what President Trump has said, that we had devastated Iran's nuclear capability. He said the same thing on MSNBC. They interpreted it very differently, though. They just kept trying to twist it back around to try to get him to doubt and to contradict what President Trump has said. He wouldn't do it, but they still, even their headline online of the story would have you doubting that this was a successful mission. But that's MSNBC. An $18,000 annual pay increase that South Carolina legislators had passed for themselves. Remember us talking about this just a few weeks ago at the end of the session? Well, the South Carolina Supreme Court says they're going to push the pause button. And it cannot go into effect until they determine whether or not it was constitutional. The state budget takes effect next week. It includes a $1,500 per month raise in legislators' in-district compensation, which is ostensibly to help cover expenses for constituent work back home. Though there are no rules on it. They can use it for anything they want. They don't even have to spend it. They just get it. Well, there's been a number of challenges to that, one of which being Senator Wes Clymer, along with a retired teacher in his district of Rock Hill. They challenged the increase, filed suit June 9th, arguing that the raises are unconstitutional because of a provision that bans legislators from raising their own per diem. Under the schedule the state's highest court set yesterday, it could be months before the pay increase, if justices ultimately allow them, will hit legislators' bank accounts. Clymer's attorney, which is kind of odd here, former Democrat senator, Columbia attorney Dick Harpootlian, he must file his arguments next month. The House, Senate, and Treasurer's Office, the case's defendants, will have until mid-August to reply. The deadline for the final filing will be September the 4th. The raise was set to first hit 126 legislators' bank accounts July the 16th. Hope they hadn't spent it. The first pay date of the new fiscal year. On the legislature's 170, or of the legislature's 170 members, I should say, 44 Republicans opted out of the pay raise, saying, I don't want it. I'm not going to accept it. And deciding to suspend the raises, the court said that Senator Clymer, who is a Republican, by the way, had shown that letting them start amid the challenge would cause immediate irreparable harm and that this case is sufficiently likely to succeed, according to the order signed by all 5 justices of the state Supreme Court. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will succeed. Rather, there's sufficient merit that it could. Mr. Harpootlian said in a statement, "This is why the constitutional separation of powers is so important. An independent judiciary stands ready to restrain the excessive impulses of the legislative branch." Thousands of taxpayer dollars could have gone to legislators before the court made its final decision. That money would be difficult to recoup. I don't think they're going to get them to return the checks, especially if legislators spent it before ruling, Harpootlian told reporters earlier this month. So whether the raise from $1,000 to $2,500 a month qualifies as a per diem, that's the big question at hand. Harpootlian has argued that per diem is referenced in the state constitution, and it means any payment legislators receive for their position. The 1890 Constitution predated annual salaries and other compensation was referred to as per diem. But in the decades since, legislators' pay has come in different ways. They get a base salary of $10,400, which you got to admit is not a lot of money. That hasn't changed since 1990. The $1,000 for in-district expenses has not changed since 1995. And a per diem for each day that they're in session, which is meant to cover meals and lodging, has been pretty much the same too. It's tied to Columbia hotel rates. It's currently at $240 a day. And it's the same rate for every legislator, no matter where they live. So, for example, those legislators living in Columbia who do not have to travel still get the $240 per day. Attorneys for the Senate argue that it qualifies as a reimbursement, even though legislators don't have to report how they spend the money. So the Constitution's rule that legislators can't raise their own pay or per diem does not apply. Again, I think the very fact that some legislators denied the raise, did not accept it. For example, some of those who said, I will not be accepting it, April Cromer of Anderson, Celeste Davis, my friend down in the lower part of the state from Moncks Corner, Doug Gillum, one of my buddies, he said, nope, not going to take it. Val Guest, Patrick Haddon, my buddy John McCravey, Josiah Magnuson, just a whole list. Alan Morgan from Greer, a whole list there saying, nope, not going to take it.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.